Hello folks, it's just me, Laura Beth. Now during my closing remarks for our online church this week, I noted that I am looking forward to a week in the near future when we would not be able to look at that week as, quote, history making. I also noted that that wasn't last week, and it won't be this week. This week, though, can be different. Now, even with the security concerns in Washington, D.C. and state capitals around the country, it is a week that will hopefully mark new beginnings, namely a new administration in Washington. Now, a quick Google search for the meaning of the word inauguration tells us that it suggests a beginning or introduction of a system or a policy or a period, which is something I think we can all look forward to. Now, moving from an ending of one thing to the beginning of another is a moment of change. But as I've been reading this week, and as my life bears witness to, there's a big difference between change and transition. And the biggest difference is this, that change is something we see in a moment. At noon on Wednesday, Donald J. Trump will no longer be president, and Joe Biden will be president. The power of the office immediately shifts. This is change. Now, the effects of that change, the impact that comes with the transitions of power, peaceful or otherwise, it take time. A new president won't immediately reunite families at the border, calm the concerns over the outcome of the election, or bring balance to the racial dynamics that continue to plague our society. It takes time for orders to be written and signed, for policies to be implemented and practices to be changed on the street level where it touches most all of us. This is transition. Now, anyone who has paid attention to past new presidents is aware of this reality. My question for us today is not really about what we expect on Wednesday or in the days and weeks to follow. My question is one concerning an understanding of hope. Namely, is it reasonable to place hope in change? And my invitation to us today is that we allow ourselves to find hope in change with the full awareness that it may take months, years, or even decades before some of the hope that is sparked by change finds its way through the process of transition and into a tangible reality. Now, I believe it's important that we let hope become the life and energy that sustains us through the months ahead. Hope for greater civility, hope for better dialogue, and hope for eyes and hearts that are open to seeing hurt and being part of healing. So this week officially kicks off my last semester of classes with a week-long intensive, which, it may not surprise you, is about leading through transition. Our professor, Dr. Bill Kincaid, wrote one of our texts, and it's titled, Like Stepping into a Canoe. It's about transition from seminary to full-time ministry. The principles that he introduces in there, however, have a much broader relevance in relation to making shifts in a career, a vision, direction, and any part of life, really. So I look forward to digging in deeper with the other texts as well. Now, one of those texts is a book that I just reread, Searching for Sunday, by Rachel Held Evans. Rachel was working on this text when I would visit her and Dan in Dayton. And this marks the first time that I have really engaged with any of her work since she died a couple years ago. I came close to requesting an alternate assignment, but decided it was as good a time as any to bring her work back into my life. It was an honor to know her for even a while, and it's inspiring now to see the impact her legacy continues to have on so many people. I'll talk more about this class after I've taken it next week and introduce the rest of my classes then. As you can imagine, I've been looking ahead to after graduation, which is coming up in May, with great anticipation. So I've started communicating with individuals and groups about the possibility of serving churches going through various states of transition as an interim pastor, and doing that for the next couple of years. And while I'm doing that, I want to be building what I am calling a coalition for peace and reconciliation. Now, there are several goals behind that endeavor, but one of them will be creating opportunities for pastors, lay leaders, and others to experience the need for reconciliation by engaging with elements of American culture that fall out of their everyday life. Building off of my experience with the Free Mom Hugs tour, I'd like to host immersive trips where we get to speak to and listen to and learn from those living lives much different than our own. So for that, and for the interim pastoral work, I've started looking for another motorhome to live and travel in. The last one I lived in was my parents', and they have since sold it, so I'm looking for a new one. My vision is to maintain a home base somewhere here in Indiana, but I've been living in a regular house for a while, and the adventurer in me is ready to write a new chapter. So if you want to know more about that work as it unfolds, if you want to be a part of it, or if you have ideas on how we can bring that vision to life, send me a message or leave a comment, and I will follow up with you. In the meantime, and for all time, the light in me sees and honors the light in you.